Start with paragraph 1.
This is part 2 of my statement dealing with specific investigations undertaken by IDAC during 2024 and 2025. In this statement, I will deal with the events that transpired from the 6th of January 2025 after Mr. Perumal and Mr. Rapesu and I consulted with Mr. Adams in Cape Town on the 6th of January 2025. As stated in my first statement, the 4 supplementary affidavits obtained from Mr. Adams and commissioned by Mr. Rapesu are the only statements that I am aware of that Mr. Adams deposed to on that day.
And then events of January 2025.
In fact, on 6 January 2025, after consulting with Mr. Adams, I sent Advocate Johnson a WhatsApp message at...
Can you just pause there? I think it's better if we just flight the WhatsApp message, Commissioners. That is in file 10, page 215. Are you at 215?
Yep. Evening, Advocate Johnson. Apologies for after-hours text. Update on diversion. All supplementary affidavits obtained. Mapping of investigation plan complete. Will provide a written report for your office on the plan as soon as we return. May 2025 be blessed, success, good health, and happiness.
And can I just ask you, you mentioned a written report to your office on the plan as soon as we return. Was that written report ever submitted?
No, it was not, because events took place on the 16th of January that required a different approach.
And what would that report have entailed? What would you have included in there?
It would have been the discussions of the fact that Mr. Adams had provided no further information to us, and that although he had not provided further information on the 19th of December, after viewing the documents, we had identified possible witnesses to consult with to determine whether there was in fact a reason to proceed.
Okay. So the report is not submitted, but you send this WhatsApp to Advocate Johnson after you've consulted with Mr. Adams, and you reference the supplementary affidavits, and that would be the 4 supplementary affidavits.
Correct.
The next event that then occurs is the 13th of January 2025 on page 2, paragraph 4 of your statement.
I just need to finish reading paragraph 3.
Because you've read the WhatsApp into the record, it's the same, it's a repetition, yes.
On the 13th of January 2025, Mr. Perumal requested a meeting with Mr. Rapesu and me regarding a consultation that Mr. Perumal had with a potential witness, which had not previously been disclosed to us. I was upset.
Sorry. Throughout the statement, you mentioned this witness, and not once do you mention the name. Is there a particular reason for this?
Part of the reasons that I'm not mentioning their names is that they are within the crime intelligence unit of SAPS. It is a danger factor to mention their names.
All right, please continue.
I was upset that a consultation was held with a witness without my knowledge, because in my docket report on the 10th of December 2024, I had specifically stated that the prosecutor must be informed before any interview consultation takes place with any person relating to the matter. Given my uneasiness about this matter, I wanted to make sure that Mr. Perumal was not embarking on a frolic of his own and potentially influencing or compromising witnesses. The instruction was directed at Mr. Perumal and Mr. Padiache and not Mr. Rapesu.
Before you get to the next paragraph, you have a DDPP for this team, Mr. Lowe, and you have these concerns, as you express in paragraph 4, but we know from your earlier evidence that it's more than that. How come you're not involving him in addressing an issue such as this?
Commissioner Baloy, if we go back to my previous statement, Advocate Johnson had indicated she was going to be the supervisor on the matter, meaning I reported directly to her. So that means I bypass and I was, the secrecy of the matters, if they're not on the designation, I could not discuss it with them. But also...
So he was not on the designation?
He was not on the designation.
Okay. All right.
It was Advocate Manilal that was on the designation. And as in my previous, statement part 1, I indicate that Advocate Johnson had said he needs to be there for the purposes of paper. She will supervise. And as we go on, the commissioners will see that he only became aware of the matter later on.
Thank you.
Paragraph 5.
Mr. Perumal informed me that the witness had been flown to the Eastern Cape by the Minister of Police, Minister Mchunu, in order for Mr. Perumal to consult with the witness.
What was your understanding of this? Did you understand it to mean that Minister Mchunu had paid the airfare? If not, what was your understanding?
My understanding is that all arrangements were made by Mr. Mchunu or Minister Mchunu for this witness to consult with Mr. Perumal in Eastern Cape.
My focus is on flown. What did you understand that to mean?
I had assumed that the minister's office had paid for, because I had later met this witness and he would not have been of financial means to have flown himself to Eastern Cape.
All right, thank you.
And this witness was coming from Pretoria?
Correct, from the Vetting Department of Crime Intelligence.
Thank you.
Sorry, the Procurement Department.
Procurement Department,
Procurement.
thank you.
Is this the witness that you refer to as the forklift witness?
Correct.
Okay. So maybe we should just then refer to it as the forklift witness.
We'll do that.
I think we do refer to it later on as the forklift witness, but for convenience now, you can start referring to the person.
Well, thank you.
Okay? It seems strange to me.
It seems strange to me that Minister Mchunu would be involved in this investigation, but Mr. Perumal did not offer any further details regarding Mr. Mchunu's involvement in the investigation. Mr. Perumal told me that this witness was relevant for the procurement of the forklift by Crime Intelligence.
Was this the first time that you become aware of, through Mr. Perumal or any other person, of Minister Mchunu's involvement in the work that you are doing here relating to crime intelligence?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Perumal told me that this witness was relevant for the procurement of the forklift by Crime Intelligence. At that stage, I was not aware that General Jacobs had informed Mr. Rapesu that the inspectorate had to update Mr. Mchunu or Minister Mchunu on Mr. Adams' complaint every 10 days. I mention this because it seems that Mr. Mchunu's involvement was more than just receiving updates from the inspectorate on Mr. Adams' criminal complaint. Paragraph 6. Mr. Perumal indicated that a further consultation could be arranged with this witness, and the consultation was held on the 20th of January 2025, which I deal with later.
Before you read the next sentence, the word when must be deleted, the first word. So it starts with Mr. Perumal.
Mr. Perumal. Mr. Perumal said that the witnesses witness evidence was gold, which I understood to mean that Mr. Perumal considered the evidence to be supportive of the allegations of criminal conduct regarding the procurement of the forklift. On the 14th of January 2025, whilst I was attending court at Pretoria North Magistrates Court and chatting in the passages with Advocate Tila Shabalala together with a witness, this witness is in relation to a different matter for the purposes of court. Mr. Mbalo, an investigator from Eastern Cape reporting to Mr. Perumal, and Mr. Belochin. Mr. Belochin told me that he was present at the consultation with my witness.
Does the "my" there refer to Mr. Belochin?
It refers to me.
To your,
So when he speaks, he says with
Your witness.
okay. I'm asking because you put it in quotes and you use "my" as if it was Mr. Belochin who said "my." Do you see what I mean?
I understand.
Yes.
It should read with your witness. And that he had even viewed video footage. He was referring to the consultation with the forklift witness that Mr. Perumal had told Mr. Rapesu and me about on the 13th of January 2025. I was concerned that Mr. Belochin was consulting with a witness on project diversion when he had not been designated as a team member on the project. Yet Mr. Rapesu and I, who were designated members, were only informed about the consultation after it had taken place.
Now, why was that such a concern for you, that he's not a designated member and yet he knows things about and has consulted with witnesses regarding this investigation?
One, as explained by Advocate Surunya yesterday, we do not discuss our matters with other team members or other people or other staff members of IDAC. It's a designated team, you discuss it within the designated team. It's also a breach of Section 41(6) for him to have been present at that consultation. But I will
just remind us, what does 416 say, 416?
It's a section in the NPA Act that does not allow us to discuss investigations with other parties without authorization.
Thank you.
The other concern is something that I will address in paragraph 14.
Continue,
Thank you.
paragraph 8.
I asked Mr. Belochin how he could be involved in this matter if he had not been designated as one of the team members, and why he deemed it appropriate to discuss details of this matter in front of Advocate Shabalala and a witness. He smirked and said in a joking way, "I know nothing, I didn't say anything." This incident was very concerning, and on the 16th of January 2025, after a scheduled meeting with Advocate Johnson, it should read on another matter. So,
And others must be deleted.
correct. After a scheduled meeting with Advocate Johnson on another matter, I asked if I could have a discussion with her privately regarding project diversion. I asked Advocate Johnson if the designation for project diversion had been extended to include Mr. Belochin, and I expressed my concerns regarding him consulting with a witness and being involved in the investigation if he's not included in the designation. Advocate Johnson told me that she was not aware that Mr. Belochin was party to the consultation that was held with the forklift witness. Advocate Johnson told me that a presentation would be held on the 22nd of January 2025 regarding project diversion, and that I should include my concerns in the presentation for discussion at the meeting. Advocate Johnson sent an email to all designated members and Mr. Sissoko, including that she wanted a presentation on the 22nd of January 2025 about project diversion. On that same day, Mr. Perumal emailed a draft presentation to Mr. Rapesu, Padiachi, and me, annexed MMR 12 of Mr. Rapesu's witness statement. In his covering email, he asked for input before the presentation was to be submitted to Advocate Johnson ahead of 22 January 2025 meeting.
Just before you continue with paragraph 10, Commissioners, that would be Mr. Rapesu's file. If you could take Mr. Rapesu's file and go to MMR 12, we will flight the presentation as well. It was dealt with during his evidence. We are flighting it as well, Chair. So that is the email that was sent on the 16th, MM12.
Correct. From Dylan Perumal to Trishantha Ramsamy, Mansur Rapesu, Brian Padiachi. Subject, diversion presentation. Good day, colleagues. Please provide input before we submit to the ID. Kind regards.
Now we can deal with the presentation, which is on the next page, and we'll also flight that. Okay, the first under background. We'll start on background. Just wait for it to appear on your screen. Thank you. There we go. So you can read your paragraph 10, and we will follow on the presentation.
Sorry, maybe before you read that paragraph 10, let me ask you a question on an earlier paragraph. When Mr. Perumal tells you that he's consulted with this witness who was flown to meet with him by the minister, did you not ask how does Perumal end up with this witness? How did you know there's this witness to speak to?
Commissioner,
it seems to me, especially in the light of your concern, and you're the prosecutor in charge, it seems to me a natural question in the light of your concerns to ask, how did you happen upon this witness?
Commissioner, to be very honest with you, I learned very early what to ask and when to ask Mr. Perumal questions. It would be if I wanted those sort of answers, it would be on the smoker's balcony while he's having a smoke and I'm having my coffee and we can just have a chat. That would be the time but I had not asked him that question.
Did you ever find out or formed a view, an opinion about how he ends up with this witness?
I did, Commissioner, and it will become clearer.
You will speak to it later.
Correct.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, you can read paragraph 10 and we will flight the presentation.
I wish to highlight the following important aspects about the presentation, the draft presentation that Mr. Perumal sent on that day. In the presentation, under the heading Background, Mr. Perumal states that a member of Parliament and member of the Portfolio Committee on Police submitted an affidavit in terms of Section 27 to the ID, urging that criminal investigations help to be initiated by the IDAC on the following allegations. The reporting of a fictitious housebreaking and theft case by Major General Lushaba in 2022. Whilst he was the Acting Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, and the subsequent manipulation of the ensuing criminal investigation utilizing crime intelligence resources. The procurement of a forklift utilizing funds from the COVID CI account, circumventing of procurement processes, and the non-delivery of the forklift to date. The promotions and/or appointments, in brackets gratification, to specific senior managers and officers within the Crime Intelligence Division, and manipulation of vetting standards and processes, in brackets again, gratification, for specific senior managers of the SAPS, and the abuse of the COVID funds with regard to expenditure incurred and resources of the Political Killings Task Team, and for the benefit of the former Minister of Police. Purchase of 2 properties using COVID funds, in brackets PTA and KZN. The use of COVID funds to pay for high hotel accommodation and expenses for the current DivCom, Lieutenant General Khumalo and Lushaba.
Continue, paragraph 11.
I specifically quoted the presentation to highlight to the commissioners that in January 2025, when Mr. Perumal prepared his presentation, he too referred to a Section 27 affidavit that had allegations about the forklift, the PKTT, and the Secret Service Fund. This is further corroboration of Mr. Rapesu and my version of the contents of the Section 27 referral affidavit that we saw on the 5th and 6th of December 2024.
And then on page 4 of the presentation, you can read in your statement and we'll follow on the...
I do not have the file.
You read your statement and we will follow the presentation on the screen.
Thank you. On page 4 of the presentation, Mr. Perumal stated that the A1 affidavits obtained from Mr. Adams in the various case dockets needed supplementing. He also states, importantly, that on the 6th of January 2025, we, Mr. Perumal and Rapesu and I, traveled to Cape Town and consulted extensively with the MP. Importantly, he states supplementary affidavits were obtained from him, being Mr. Adams, for all the cases reported by him. Once again, this shows that as far as Mr. Perumal was concerned, when he prepared the presentation in January 2025, the affidavits that were obtained from Mr. Adams on the 6th of January 2025 were supplementary affidavits, no mention is made of a new A1 affidavit or affidavits.
Continue.
On 19 January 2025, I added a portion to the presentation which dealt with the prosecutor's input on the project and submitted the presentation to Advocate Johnson and Mr. Sissoko. On the 20th of January 2025...
Before you go to the 20th of January, we're just going to flight what you added to the presentation, and that is in file 10. The presentation starts at page 218, but we're focusing on page 229, from 229. That would be the prosecutorial input. That's what you would have added.
Correct.
To Mr. Perumal's presentation.
Correct.
And you deal with the various cases emanating from Mr. Adams' Section 27 referral.
Correct.
Now, we are going to deal later with page up to page 234, but if we could go to page 236, which refers to your concerns, because that is relevant for purposes of why Advocate Johnson said that you should add or deal with your concerns in the presentation. And at 236, you then set out your concerns.
May I read it into the
Yes.
record? Concerns of the prosecutor. Instructions regarding being informed about witnesses being consulted with to be discussed with the prosecutor. This was not done regarding the captain. This is the forklift witness. Open communication is imperative in an investigation of this nature. Point 2, undesignated members personally informing the prosecutor that they consulted with my witness and viewed the video footage. This was done in the passages of a magistrate's court and in front of other undesignated members. Point 3, RE, defeating docket. The lady is,
Just give us context on what you mean by the defeating docket.
that would be with regards to the events that transpired with Mr. Lushaba and the housebreaking. Valeria Kaz, 38.
Yes.
Defeating docket, the lady is only, it's supposed to read, is only supposed to be approached once sufficient investigation is done. OB entries, consultation with the first two witnesses identified by prosecution. She must only be approached once investigation is at a stage that even if she does not cooperate, there is still strong evidence to proceed.
Can you just tell us why that was a concern for you, that the lady was being approached? What was the concern that she was being approached? Was she not considered to be a witness?
I didn't find her to be a witness at that time. There was insufficient evidence to even approach her at that point. But my major concern was that Mr. Perumal was insisting that she must be found and that she must be placed in witness protection and that she must be consulted with because she's vital. And despite my numerous instructions that she is not supposed to be approached at this point, given the early stages of the investigation, I was in High Court and I received on the 20th of January, I received a WhatsApp message from a team member indicating that, from Mr. Rapesu, indicating that he was contacted to fetch Mr. Perumal from the airport and that they were in the process of going to hunt down the witness, despite the fact that I had, even in the presence of, in my instructions on the 10th of December, I'm still being overlooked, bypassed, and ignored, and he's still proceeding. At that point, I sent a message while I was in court saying, no action on diversion is to be taken today.
Okay. So then you say the last bullet point is all other aspects of the above investigation will be discussed during the presentation due to its sensitivity.
Correct. We had received instructions from Advocate Johnson that we are not to document everything that she considered sensitive. I do deal with it later where we also get instructions not to email or WhatsApp, that sort of communication, anything written.
Okay.
The instruction not to document everything, does that mean that some of your discussions and decisions, as matters stand now, they're in your heads? There's no record at IDAC. What does that instruction mean?
Commissioner, I make very detailed notes, very, very detailed notes of every meeting, and I have supplied them. I've also volunteered to provide the originals for ink age analysis to determine that I did take those notes at that time.
I understand. You clearly did not follow instructions. You were not supposed to document. I'm asking a different question, and more an institutional question. That instruction, am I correct, means today that there are matters that were discussed, there are decisions that were taken and acted upon even, that are not recorded anywhere. When I say they're in your heads, we would have to get another Ms. Ramsame to come and sit there and say, here's my recollection of that decision. But to the extent that the institution is obliged by law, if there is such an obligation by law, to keep records of discussions, of decisions, there is, in fact, what you're telling us is there's matter that we will never find record of because of that kind of instructions and how you handled that.
Correct. Commissioner, it's also in an email from Advocate Johnson that we will deal with a bit later, where she emails a specific team, us, and the new team that's allocated to the matters as to how correspondence is supposed to be done and that it's not supposed to be documented.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's continue in paragraph 13 on 20 January 2025.
On 20 January 2025, a consultation was held with the forklift witness. Present at the consultation was Mr. Perumal Padiachi and Rapesu, the witness, and me. As stated earlier, Mr. Perumal previously informed us that the evidence of this witness was gold. But my assessment of the witness evidence was that it was largely hearsay and speculative. Mr. Perumal later indicated that DPCI was investigating the forklift matter and that IDAC should not pursue it any further. This was accepted by Advocate Johnson.
Does that mean that from that day onwards, IDAC no longer investigated the forklift matter?
That paragraph of Mr. Perumal indicating, it was done in the 2022 January presentation.
2022 January presentation, yes.
And then, despite the fact that the decision was accepted that DPCI would continue with the forklift investigation, I later became aware, and I say later, I mean like on the 11th of April.
11th of April what, yeah?
Of 2025.
Okay.
I became aware that there were statements taken by Mr. Perumal and Mr. Padiachi on that matter. I was only provided with them in April by accident.
Okay, let's just take a step back. So in the presentation that gets sent by Mr. Perumal on the 16th of January 2025 for purposes of the 22 January meeting, there's an indication by him that DPCI is investigating this matter, so IDAC will no longer investigate it. And at the meeting of 22 January, does Advocate Johnson then accept it then, the suggestion that you should no longer investigate it?
Correct.
Okay. So as you understood from the 22nd of January 2025, the forklift matter was no longer being investigated by IDAC.
Correct.
But in April, you are provided with, or you come across by accident, affidavits which show that they were in fact still investigating it, or were those affidavits, did they predate 22 January?
No. These affidavits were taken after 22 January.
Okay, so despite the acceptance by Advocate Johnson on the 22nd of January that we're not going to investigate forklift, it still gets investigated, or at least there's still something being done on forklift, such as gathering affidavits from witnesses.
Correct, and we will see later that even though it was decided in January that we were not going to deal with the forklift matter, it's still included in instructions by Advocate Johnson that forklift, when we get there, you'll see the order of how she places things, and she's still including the forklift.
Okay.
Can I just check this? How does it work? Clearly this matter, the forklift matter, at this point I'm not asking about whether it qualifies as an IDAC matter or not. When you look at the mandate, I'm not asking that kind of question. But you are seized with the matter because someone has referred it to IDAC. Now you get told by Mr. Perumal that the Hawks, the DPCI, are investigating the matter and we will no longer deal with it. Are those kind of issues dealt that informally? I would have thought there would be a record that from between you and the DPCI, which records that DPCI is investigating this matter, maybe ahead of you, or they think it belongs to them, and there's a formal communication that says, all right, now we leave it to you. We no longer are dealing with it, so there is a record within IDAC of what happened to this matter.
Correct, Commissioner. It's supposed to be that way. It is supposed to be that way. Because I belong to the security cluster under Paul Law, and we deal with those matters, there would be formal communication that we would send. In this circumstances, I even wanted to know, I think it was later in the year, because they had collected the Langlaagte docket, I wanted to know whether it was returned. Because if we've got the original docket, how are they investigating? And I did ask that question. I received no response. But on the point of the Langlaagte docket, it is the only docket where Mr. Adams actually provided documentary evidence with his A1.
Langlaagte, it is the forklift matter.
Forklift.
And the documentation that he provided was the documentation that was slipped under his door?
As he stated, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You testified about that in your first statement. It was receipts and proof of payments? Or?
Correct. It was the procurement invoices, etc.
Okay. Okay, paragraph 14, and I think it's 2025, not 2024.
Yes, it is 2025. On January 2025,
21 January.
21 January 2025, I had a conversation with Mr. Perumal regarding the matter of Cedric and Kabinde. I will deal with this topic separately when I deal with the trumped-up case against Mr. Rapesu. However,
Yeah, I think you can deal with it now because you don't expand on it in your statement.
later.
You reference another affidavit that was prepared as part of that, where you were requested to prepare an affidavit regarding that aspect. So maybe if you can just start out by telling us what is the Cedric and Kabinde matter, and then we can go to your affidavit.
okay. So on the 20th of January 2025, when we were consulting with the forklift witness, he made mention of Cedric and Kabinde. As naive as I am, I didn't know who that was, so I had to Google. When we were on the smoker's balcony the day after, Mr. Perumal and myself, he mentioned to me that, so there were two aspects that he addressed with me that day. One, that he didn't want the witness to speak about Cedric and Kabinde in front of Mr. Rapesu. And I didn't understand because at that time I didn't know that they had worked together at iPad.
They being? They had worked together, who you're referring to?
Mr. Nkabinde and Mr. Rapesu had previously worked at iPad together. The second aspect,
Sorry, and the witness that he refers to is the forklift witness?
correct.
Okay.
With regards to that forklift witness mentioning Mr. Nkabinde, it was about the arrangements to go and consult with Mr. Perumal. So on the 21st, when we were on the balcony, Mr. Perumal addresses this aspect, and I said, but why? And he didn't give me a reply. His next response to me was, Drew, I need you to speak to ID. So I said, about? And he said, no. Rapesu is going to start crying that the work is too much now. I need you to speak to ID to bring on my guys. So this is the second time Mr. Perumal is asking me to bring on his Eastern Cape guys, being Mr. Beluchan, Mr. Mbalo, because Mr. Mazibukwana at that time was in hospital. The first incident where Mr. Perumal brought up the aspect of his guys being on board was on the 6th of December, also on the balcony, where he said to me, I said to him, so I hear we have a new matter together, because he and I, we were not speaking on good speaking terms at that time because of what had transpired with the first 27 referral. We spoke, but it was not very friendly. And he said, yes, I need you to get those documents sorted out now because the ID must sign it. I want my guys to go and fetch the dockets before we leave because they were flying back to Eastern Cape. And I said to him, but the ID didn't designate. And then I gave him the 5 people that were designated. So with regards to the Nkabinde matter, if I may just go to the affidavit.
The affidavit is at page 248 of file 10.
And this is Mr. Nkabinde, Minister Mchunu's Chief of Staff or not?
Correct.
248, thank you.
So can you just tell us how this affidavit came about?
I have to go back to the 22nd of January. Okay. So we start the presentation to Advocate Johnson on the 22nd of January. We go through the presentation. Mr. Perumal is primarily reporting or presenting to the ID.
This is the same presentation that we've been looking at.
MRR.
Yes.
Correct. So what happens on the 22nd is we're all sitting in the boardroom. The presentation is now done. Advocate Johnson says she needs to inform the team about what happened to her the night before, or it was either the 20th or the 21st, but during the evening. She indicates that she had gone to Minister Mchunu's house or residence for a meeting, and that she had left her cell phone with her protectors, and she was left waiting for Minister Mchunu in his residence, but in the presence of Mr. Nkabinde, and that Mr. Nkabinde had given her the heebie-jeebies.
Made her feel uncomfortable.
Yes, made her feel uncomfortable. And so she went on about how there's something not right about in Nkabinde and all of that. I'm still trying to place the pieces together because I'm not coming from the history of I was in regional court, murder, rape, robbery. So I didn't know the role players.
It may not be relevant, but did she explain what exactly made her feel uncomfortable?
She did not explain why she felt uncomfortable. She explained only the purpose of the meeting with Minister Mkhwanazi.
Okay, all right, please continue.
So at that point where she's explaining her unease and that there's something just off about Mr. Nkabinde, and Mr. Sissoko, who was present in the presentation, indicates that yes, Mr. Nkabinde had worked at IPAD, and then she said, no, there's something, there's just something about him, we need to see what we can do about him. So, and I'm making notes. And she then says that, so Mr. Sissoko starts explaining that how Nkabinde left, Mr. Nkabinde left IDAC, sorry, and that there was transcripts with regards to a case where he was found to be or discredited witness, etc. And Advocate Johnson said she wanted it. So Mr. Sissoko asked Mr. Rapeso, did you receive or do you have them? And he said yes. And then the instruction was that he was to circulate the transcripts to the team members. Then so then there was this whole conversation between Mr. Sissoko and Mr. Perumal. I was just sitting there taking my notes about Mr. Nkabinde having been linked to 2 other investigations and elements of criminality within matters that are in IDAC's space. One being investigated from Mr. Perumal's team, and the other one was a matter that was sent on 27 referral in 2019 or 2019 from IDAC at the time of the Zondo Commission. IPID at the time of the Zondo Commission. Advocate Johnson then instructs me, Drew, I want this information. I want this information. We need to see what we can do about this guy. When she says this guy, she refers to Mr. Nkabinde. So then the conversation continued between Mr. Sissoko and Mr. Perumal, where there was cell phone records linking Mr. Nkabinde to two different not suspects because they are accused persons. And they were service providers of SAPs that was being investigated by IPID. And I'm instructed by Advocate Johnson that I must contact the prosecutor on the matter, Mr. Tila Shabalala, and determine the links and what evidence there is. And I must then give her a report on that evidence.
You were instructed by who to contact the
Advocate Johnson wanted this, and she wanted it urgently. She wanted it done as soon as the meeting was done. Unfortunately, I had other meetings, so it couldn't happen. But going back to the affidavit.
Before you do that, so what you're describing means at the date of this meeting that you're telling us now about, that there was an active investigation against or relating to Mr. Nkabinde, because you speak of Mr. Perumal and Mr. Sissoko talking about transcripts, Mr. Rapesu confirming that he has received the transcripts. So it sounds like there was an active investigation. You may not have known about it.
No, Commissioner. The transcripts that Mr. Sissoko asked Mr. Rapesu about is transcripts of a trial where Mr. Nkabinde was a witness and was discredited. So those transcripts were asked for. With regards to the investigation, there was no active investigation at the time. There was links of Mr. Nkabinde to or in other investigations or matters that were already in court.
Let me restate what I'm trying to confirm with you. There may not have been an investigation, an active investigation, to the extent that that word has got a formal meaning, a particular meaning. My question really is, something was being looked at within IDAC. His name was not coming up for the first time in this meeting, being mentioned to people in IDAC. Mr. Sissoko had some discussion with Mr. Perumal before your meeting relating to Mr. Nkabinde.
No. The discussion about Mr. Nkabinde started, Mr. Perumal had a discussion with me that he didn't want the name of Nkabinde mentioned to Mr. Rapesu.
Yes.
The discussion involving everyone about Mr. Nkabinde was started by Advocate Johnson in the meeting after the presentation. And then everybody that knew him was piping in to say, oh yes, we have that, or yes, we know about this. So it was that sort of conversation.
Okay. I think what I'm trying to make sense of or to understand is you say Mr. Sissoko in that meeting confirms he has spoken to Mr. Perumal, or they speak to each other in that meeting. Something is asked about transcript. Rapesu says, yes, I do have the transcripts. What I'm trying to understand is whether they each just happened to have something about Mr. Nkabinde, and it had no particular meaning until that meeting, or in fact, it suggests that they may well each have been, for whatever purpose, have been possessed or dealing with something to do with Mr. Nkabinde. It's that which I'm trying to clarify.
For clarity purposes, when Mr. Nkabinde's name was mentioned and all this information was, it must be noted that at that time that no investigator, no prosecutor were pursuing the evidence that was housed within those dockets against Mr. Nkabinde.
Okay, no, thank you. You've answered me, thank you. Thanks.
So basically, all of this, that is the request for people the request by Advocate Johnson for people to get her information, all of it stemmed purely from the fact that she had heebie-jeebies about him. Is that how it appeared to you, or was there anything
No,
else?
it looked like there was a deeper reason for this. I do have, I do deal with it a little bit later on about the WhatsApp that Advocate Johnson had sent me about the Mr. Nkabinde thing.
All
You
right,
can
all
deal
right.
with it now because it forms part of the chronology, because your affidavit comes later, but you wanted to introduce the affidavit first. So let's go back to how I wanted to deal with it. You, on the 22nd of January has significance for two reasons. It's after the presentation, there's this discussion about Mr. Nkabinde.
Correct.
But there's also, prior to that, how project diversion was going to be implemented going forward, and that we deal with later.
Correct.
Part of the 22 January where Mr. Nkabinde was discussed, the meeting with the minister, with Minister Mchunu and Advocate Johnson a day or two prior, also has significance in respect of project diversion.
Correct.
And Mr. Nkabinde. So let's just deal with Mr. Nkabinde now, so, because that has significance insofar as Mr. Rapesu's victimization is concerned. And that is how the affidavit comes about later. But you can then go to, after Advocate Johnson asks for these requests on the 22nd of January, there's a WhatsApp exchange between the two of you, which is at page 239 of file 10.
Correct. On the 23rd of January 2025, at 13:38, I sent Advocate
Can you
Johnson.
just, sorry, Ms. Ramsamy, when you read from the file, maybe bring the file closer to you so that you don't move away from the microphone. Thanks.
13:38, afternoon, Advocate Johnson. I spoke to Tilas about the links and the evidence regarding C in Cub.
That is a reference to Mr. Nkabinde, and Tillis is Advocate Shabalala.
Correct. Peter White has a comprehensive report on the links on various matters, cell phone records, and vehicle provided to him, him being Mr. Nkabinde.
And who's Peter White?
He's a data analyst.
Within IDAC.
He previously was within IDAC on contract basis. He's now a service provider.
Okay?
Rapesu has provided the transcripts of the court case and judgment. I will await your instructions on obtaining the report, providing same to your office.
What report are you referring to here?
The Peter White report, because Advocate Johnson had instructed me to speak to Tilas and find out what evidence against Mr. Nkabinde was at hand, and that is why I'm informing her that Mr. White has a comprehensive report.
Okay, and then there's a response from Advocate Johnson.
Please obtain report. Just met the minister now. Need to put together ASAP. I reply, noted, thank you.
Okay, and you wanted to refer to this exchange in response to a question about, from the chair, whether the only reason for the inquiry by Advocate Johnson was because Mr. Nkabinde made her feel uncomfortable. And you said you thought that there was a different reason and referred us to this. So can you tell us why you say so and why this is relevant?
My understanding or observation of this is that if she's saying to me, just met the minister now, need to put this together ASAP, obviously the minister is also or happy or approving that Mr. Nkabinde must be investigated, charged, and
Well, at that stage, there's nothing suggesting that he must be charged. She's just gathering information at the time.
If I may just put it as to how I understood it in the meeting on the 22nd of January. I want something on this guy.
Meaning what in your speak?
In my head, Advocate Johnson wanted dirt on Mr. Nkabinde, and she wanted to charge him.
And your reference, so are you suggesting that at the meeting, either on the 20th or the 21st, at the minister's residence, that was when the minister and Advocate Johnson discussed Mr. Nkabinde?
I assumed it to be so because of the way Advocate Johnson was pushing for the information, even on the 23rd, and then she said she spoke to the minister, we must move ASAP. The other aspect of the 22nd of January 2025 meeting that made me alert to the fact that the meetings with the minister were common or regular was that she said, Advocate Johnson said to the team, the minister wants to clean up SAPS. He wants us to help him clean up SAPS, crime intelligence in specifically.
Let me just take you back on digging up dirt on Mr. Nkabinde. From where I'm sitting, that's not the only inference that one could have drawn. What if perhaps the minister wanted his mind put at ease? Say, for example, just make sure that what I've heard about Mr. Nkabinde is in fact not true. And if that were the case, then his mind would be put at rest.
I could agree that that's a possibility.
Yes, I'm asking it in the light of what Ms. Siegels-Ncube raised with you, which is there was no charge or what, I've forgotten the language, yeah. That too is a possible inference under the circumstances.
It could be a possible inference, but the manner in which it was said to me, I knew already because I was in the environment and I could read the room. But also the urgency on the 23rd, but then my evidence will further show that I was getting pressure to do a 28 to investigate standalone against Mr. Nkabinde.
Yes, my question was specifically at that stage, there was, that could have been a possibility, that it wasn't just, because there were no charges yet. Advocate Johnson didn't say we need to charge him. She just wanted the information, she was gathering information.
Correct.
Okay.
Ms. Ncube, maybe I misheard you. Did you say at the minister's residence or at the minister's instance?
Residence.
So it came from you and not the witness. What do you know about the meeting at the minister's residence? The meeting between Advocate Johnson and the minister?
That it had taken place after hours, that she was left waiting for an extended period of time for the minister. She was with the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, and at that meeting, except for the heebie-jeebies, the aspect of the minister wanting to clean up SAPS and more specifically crime intelligence was discussed.
So that was the subject of discussion at that meeting?
That is what I was informed.
And did Advocate Johnson tell you what exactly the minister had said about crime intelligence, which gave rise to the need for a cleanup?
No, Chair, I was not privy, but from the way the conversation progressed, it was clear that the only 3 people in the room that knew what was being spoken about in those undertones was Advocate Johnson, Mr. Padiachi, and Mr. Perumal.
Thank you, Chair.